us. So yes, I had the privilege last week to participate in this historic visit in Abu Dhabi. As Becky said, I'm covering diplomatic issues. I'm covering this arena for more than 10 years now. I traveled a lot around the world, mostly with Netanyahu, covering his trips, and no doubt he was not there, but no doubt this was the unique visit I think me and my colleagues had as journalists, because it was no doubt an historic trip, an historic breakthrough. So thanks for want to listen to me today, because it definitely was unique. I must say, personal level, I mean, since I got back, I'm still getting so many questions about what happened and what was the meaning and so on. So now I have the opportunity to share that with you. And I have a PowerPoint to show, if it's okay. I hope it will be better for all of us this way. Can you see it? Okay, the PowerPoint? Yes, you can. Great. So definitely, as I said, it was a breakthrough trip to Abu Dhabi. You can see the flags, the picture, which is also behind me as a background, because touching or reaching the airport and see the Emirates flag nearby Israeli flags, it's incredible. That's a picture from my camera, and altogether it was 24 hours, okay, not that long, but definitely it was intensive and very, very important. Let's try to go about what actually happened there. So, as I wrote, 24 hours of precedents, because many of the events we joined or covered were happening for the first time. Okay, first direct commercial public flight and official between Israel and the UAE. You know that first public Israeli flight over Saudi Arabia, first time ever a joint flight by Israel and the UN, the US and Israeli National Security Advisors. By the way, this is a point that was not mentioned enough, because we had so much other history to tell about. But again, as one who participated in so many flights, so we had Dan Shapiro as ambassador on Netanyahu airplane. We had David Friedman as the American ambassador on Netanyahu's airplane. But we have both of United States and Israel national security advisors on the same plane. By the way, an Israeli plane. No, now let's put aside where they're flying to and what was the mission. Just to see that and standing one by each other, talking during the flight and so on, it was remarkable for itself. First official Israeli public delegation to the Emirates. That was the purpose of the trip, of course. First public and formal meetings of Israeli and Emirates officials, because we know during the years there were some ministers who arrived to the Emirates. There were, of course, off the record or under the table meetings, a lot of them during the years. This time, formal and public meetings between Israelis and Emirates officials. First interest of Israeli journalists with Israeli passport to the Emirates. I had the opportunity, the privilege last year to be in Bahrain. That was, I believe, the first time I entered an Arab country which we do not have peace with my Israeli passport. And then we had it last week again. And it was unique. It was unique. They accepted us very warmly, so as I will immediately describe, with our Israeli passports. And first public flight of Israeli, first flight of Israeli airplane over Riyadh, that actually we had on the way back, because I'm not sure on the way to Abu Dhabi, the map didn't show if we are over Riyadh, but on the way back, no doubt we were over Riyadh, and I found that as well as unique and even exciting. Okay, so that's the atmosphere, that's the background. And now what happened, Tachlis, as we used to say. So our MBS, Meir Ben Shabbat, National Security Advisor, meeting with his equivalent, Tahum bin Zayed, that happened in the palace, not in the hotel we were doing most of our time. There were 5 working groups and meetings at the hotel talking about health, about diplomatic ties, about banks ties, about tourism, maybe economy as well, if I'm not wrong. We had the option to enter the meetings for 1 minute maybe, not quoting, not recording, but just to sit in our eyes. And again, to see Israeli officials by one American representative with Emirates officials. Unfortunately, there are no public pictures of those meetings. But again, for me as a journalist to cover for so many years Israeli diplomatic struggle in the world, it was very unique and exciting to see it. The meetings, by the way, took place, most of them in the evening, so few hours after we arrived on Monday. And then, as far as I understand, some of the meetings were going on again in Tuesday morning. If I understood well, not all of them, but in any case, they were not, some scoops or strong headlines from those meetings. Actually, they were dealing with a basic, because of course there are no formal ties, or were not formal ties between Israel and the Emirates, and now we have to establish the basics. Okay, diplomatic ties. Banks cannot connect one with each other. All that stuff has to be arranged now. When we left the hotel in Tuesday morning, so we wanted, of course, to pay for our rooms. So it didn't read our credit cards. Okay, it's and not only mine, of all of my colleagues as well. So we had to go to an ATM, and thank God that was working, so we could have money and to pay for that. But it's so basic for us now to go all around the road and pay with our credit cards. No, in the Emirates, Israeli credit cards just do not work. So all that stuff has to be arranged. And in the beginning was during the meetings that took place, as I said, on Monday evening, and some of them on Tuesday morning. And there was one agreement signed, a protocol actually, which is describing the process how to establish banks ties, financial ties between Israel and the Emirates. On the evening, on Monday evening, we only the journalists, we had a tour to the Louvre Museum. There is so the Emirates bought some of the exhibitions that there is in Paris, in the Louvre of Paris, and so we had about, I believe, half hour to take a tour over there. Maybe later I can show you some of what we saw. It's important to mention that the exhibitions are not describing the Emirates history, or at least almost not at all. It's international history, it's the Middle East history, but really this nation, let's say, is new one. Okay, not only the Emirates itself as a country is less than 50 years, but the tribes, the people over there is actually new. So maybe it's not, so polite to say that, but they do not have too much history to show. But that's one point. The other point is that they are really international. They see themselves as a regional power, not only not taking care only for the Emirates, and we got this message during the conversations we had. So they have actually two good reasons to show the region history and maybe international history, and not only the Emirates history in the museum. After the tour, we had a dinner in the Louvre with Emirates officials. It was arranged that there were, I believe, two or three journalists, Israeli journalists, with 2 or 3 Emirates representatives. Usually it was like, let's say, one American journalist, one Israeli, one Emirates journalist, and then 2 officials, something like that. That's what happened in my table, at least. The conversations there were very, very interesting. I learned a lot. It was more than an hour, and I must say I learned a lot. First of all, the atmosphere was great. Really, it was just great. First of all, I'm an Israeli. Some of you know my opinions. Let's say it's not on the left side of the map, okay? And of course, I have kippah, so it's quite clear where am I standing. And yet the atmosphere was very bad. Were asking me many questions about Israel, and I enjoyed answering. And from the questions and from the statements, I mean, it was not official. It was, a small talk. From the statements, I mean, you could see what I was very interested in. So they were asking me, one of them told me, listen, I want to send my son to Israel and to learn about the Jews. Where would you send him, or a student, as a student, what is the best, I don't know, school, university to send him to? So I told them the famous joke about, one Jew which arrives to a lonely island and immediately building two synagogues, the one he enters and the one he does not enter. Because, and I told them that's the most important thing you have to know about the Jewish people. There is nothing they agree about, all of them. Even about the question, who is Jewish, we do not agree. So, and they got the joke very, very well. And but again, it tells you, and it told me that they are very, very interested to know us, to learn the Jewish people, to learn Israel, and by the way, to come and make business as well. Some of them, I can't remember exactly how, but so we're reaching the tourist issue. So I told them, listen, you have to know that Israeli tourists we do like to travel around the world, but we are not always the most quiet tourists you have. So they said, yeah, we know that. Don't worry, bring them here. We will take care of them. So it was, it was funny. It was fun, and it was very sincere conversations. And again, I learned a lot. Maybe last point from the dinner is their will to come and visit Temple Mount, Al-Aqsa, Har HaBayit, call it however you want. They're really interested to do that, but they are very, very worried. I was really surprised to hear that. They are worried to be attacked by Palestinians. Okay, the pictures that, for us as Israelis, for me, it was kind of curious, that there is a Saudi guy, a blogger, that visits the Temple Mount, I believe 2 years ago. So he was attacked over there. If you remember this event, we hardly remember it as Israelis. For them, it's a trauma, and they will keep asking me. So, if we will come, will they spirit us? Will they shoot throw our shoes, and so on? They're really worried about that, and I find it as an issue that our government will have to handle, probably with Jordan, how to secure the visit over the Temple Mount when they will come. And by the way, during our visit, I saw demonstrations on Al-Aqsa against Mohammed bin Zayed, against MBZ, and no doubt it makes them worry what will happen and if they will come to visit the place. So that's generally speaking about the dinner, which again was very interesting and unique. And then in Tuesday morning, we were taken to Bin Zayed Mosque, a giant, I will show you a picture immediately, very giant mosque in Abu Dhabi. Of course, it was built by the father, the establisher of the Emirates, a personality they still admire, maybe not still, they admire a lot. Actually, it's their Herzl, he's the founding father, Bin Zayed the father, and if I'm not wrong, he's the grandfather of MBZ. He was the one who took those 7 tribes, those 7 cities, and told them, listen, we should unite, we should go together, and that's the way of united our Emirates. Actually, he found this state. So the mosque actually is impressive, no doubt. I mean, again, I'm showing a picture in a moment, but maybe one point that should be mentioned, a political one. So the guide over there, by the way, a young woman, she described how it was established I think it was built for more than 10 years, more or less. And then she's talking about the carpet, a giant carpet, 9 tons of carpet. And she's saying, and it was made abroad, or overseas. That was the exact expression. It was made overseas. So she's saying for the first one, yes, it was made for overseas, and it was brought for special airplanes and special flights and so on. And it was, okay, after the third time she's saying it was made overseas, we were very curious to know, okay, where it was made. She didn't want to say, she was playing with words, and when we pushed her to the wall, then she said, yes, it's a Persian Gulf. Sorry, it's a Persian carpet. She doesn't want to say, even, in a guide tour in a mosque, she doesn't want to say the name Iran, and we can definitely understand why. It's important. I mean, it's a small incident, but it's a very important one. So that's generally what happened in the mosque. And then that's it. The visit was actually ending. We were going to the airport back, and then we had a briefing by someone from the MFA, from the Emirates MFA. We're, Israeli journalists were asking quite tough questions, and we made them confused in some issues about the annexation, about the F-35. But generally speaking, again, for me as an Israeli journalist to get an on the record briefing by Emirates official, again, it's for the first time. So again, very unique experience. We always have to have some pictures. So down left, I hope you can see my sign. That's a former photographer of the Louvre. And I was asking him, the guy who is smiling, I was asking him to, I brought him a piece of Israel Hayom from Monday, and I asked him to hold the picture, and he cooperated. I was surprised. Some of them, I asked some of them from the Secret Service refused, but he cooperated. It was very nice. Nearby, you can see it's a Jewish memorial from cemetery. I think from France, if I'm not wrong. So this is, I mean, from the other side, it's an Emirates photographer from the Louvre. Afterwards, he made a movie. Maybe I'll show it to you in a moment. So they're covering our visit. They were covering it in their media. And I'll go to another thing. From in the right side, this is a Torah from Timan, a Yemeni Chumash. You cannot see here how much unique it is, but the paints, it's not it's word. The word of the Torah is written here from all sides. Okay, very, very unique part. And I was asking for some Yemeni friends if they ever saw such a chumash. They told me they did not. In the middle, another formal, important picture, Israeli flag, Emirates flag. This is our MBS, Meir Ben Shabbat, and someone from the government of Emirates, the protocol. By the way, behind here is, behind the Emirates guy is Alon Ushpiz, our CEO of the MFA. Here it is. I hope you can see it. That's a conversation I had in the mosque, up in the right side, with actually a friend from the MFA. I think we became friends during the visit. Up here is again flags of Israel and the Emirates near El Al Play in El Al airplane in Abu Dhabi, and up in the left the travel we made from Israel to Abu Dhabi over the Saudis. By the way, as a small point that were not discussed, but theoretically we could fly. Okay, it was not the direct line we had. It could be a little bit shorter, but here is Qatar. Okay, here is Qatar. So of course, and here is Iraq. So of course, it's too sensitive for Israeli airplane to get over Qatar and Iraq. But one day, who knows? Maybe that will happen as well. So just to conclude, and now we go maybe a little bit deeper. So and my thoughts and conclusions from the visit. this peace is not going to be like Jordan and Egypt. It's going to be a warm peace. It's going to be real ties between Israel and the Emirates, economical, technological, whatever you want. It's going to be real ties between the countries. At least those are our intentions in Israel. I mean, the government intentions and the Emirates intentions. Second point, and I put it in quote because I heard that from Israeli officials, and that's the way I see the picture as well. They are not doing us a favor. Okay, they are coming because they have interest, because MBZ knows that one day the oil will end, the gas will end, and he's taking care of future. He is an international guy. He is very educated. He brings his people to be very educated, and he sees Israel as a rising power in the region and in the world, and I would say a positive power. They understand very well that and again maybe I'll say a word about that. They understand very well that Israel is a good side, okay? That Israel is a country that wants to make this region better. And we had a discussion, for example, I mean, they are worried about the unemployment in Egypt. Now you would say, I mean, Egypt is so far off them. Egypt is a giant country, and the Emirates are so small. What do they care? So first of all, the Emirates are funding Egypt every year in a few $billions. And secondly, the Emirates sees themselves as a rising regional power. And they are thinking, what can we do good for the region that it would not be extreme? Okay, they were talking very sharply against the extreme Islam. And they know very well that someone have to take care about Egypt's future and Jordan future and other countries as well. So Israel, in their view, is a positive power to be in touch with for taking care for the region. Okay, not only Emirates interests. Third point for me and for us as an Israelis, and I mentioned it in all interviews I made, we have to learn a new language. Not only to learn Arabic, which in my view is a must, and I was very sorry not to know Arabic over there. It's a new language, it's a new culture, it's a new, for us as Israelis, it's in a new world we have to know, not only looking to the West. We are so used to see us as part of the West. No, we have to begin see ourselves, look to the East, because this is our region. That's where we live. We do not live in Europe and not in the US. Maybe we love them, but we live here. And we have to get used to live with our new neighbors, the ones who want good, like the Emirates. We have to change our mind. And I think it's a change which I hope will take place in the coming decades. It's not easy, you know. We are 70 years a country, a little bit more, and hopefully we are here for centuries. So we have to get used to our region. First point, which you read probably in Tom Friedman article, an earthquake, a new era in the region, and people are keep telling me that we do not understand well now. We are too close to the event to understand the meanings. And maybe what I said before about shifting our view to the east is part of this earthquake. Probably more countries will join. Definitely, we saw what happened with the Saudis, letting Israeli plane regularly to fly over the land, which is another historic step. And so this is an earthquake, and part of this earthquake is, of course, what is happening with the Palestinians. I wouldn't say they lost the Emirates, because the people who were talking to me as well do want to support the Palestinians. But the question, how come you do not cooperate with the American initiative? Not the political one, the economical one that was showed last year in Bahrain. How come you boycott whatever, any suggestion you get? So the criticism, and it's publicly, I mean, you can hear it. The criticism of Abbas, of the Palestinian leadership, is very strong, and I don't know how it will end. I don't know if so actually in our small talk, the common wisdom was we have to wait for a new generation in the Palestinians leadership. Maybe they will be more realistic and it will be possible to make a peace with a new generation, but maybe not. I don't know. In any case, the Emirates do not want to wait anymore, and that's the reason they are coming. Maybe last word about what about other countries. So they were saying that that's why they see it. Their neighbors will see now how it is going between them, between the Emirates and Israel. They will wait and see. If it will succeed, probably others like Bahrain, maybe Oman will come. Saudi is a different story. The Saudis are a different story. And that actually they are saying again that their neighbors will wait and see. Bottom line, a very optimistic visit, unique and historic one. And probably you saw the pictures that were all over the world with them waving shalom, bye for us. So I was taking a video from the airplane. Here in the left, you can see a live broadcast in my Twitter account. And then I see that they're waving shalom, waving bye for us. It was really, really exciting. So I just put both pictures from both sides. You can see it. So that's my experience in Abu Dhabi last week. I hope it was helpful. And I am now open to questions.
Thank you.